The massive alien ship hung in Earth's sky like a second moon. Its strange surface caught the sunlight, making bright spots on the buildings of Seoul below. Dr. Kim Tae-jun stood at the window, his hands shaking as he watched. "Director Bae wants you in the meeting room," said Professor Song-hee, trying to sound calm despite her worry. For 3 months, the Nari Dominion had given Earth new medicines, clean power, and promises of friendship among the stars. The world's leaders welcomed them as heroes who would solve Earth's problems of dirty air, too little food, and dying oceans. Tae-jun was one of the first scientists chosen to work with the aliens. Their leader, who called himself the Voice, had asked for him after looking at Earth science work. "The power readings don't match what they told us," Tae-jun whispered to Hee as they walked quickly down the hall. "I've found many strange things in their plans." Hee's eyes grew wide. "You think they're not telling the truth about their machines?" Before he could answer, loud alarms started ringing throughout the building. Through the big windows they saw bright beams shoot down from the Nari ship, hitting cities far away on the horizon. "They never wanted our help," Tae-jun said as the building shook around them. "They just needed us to look away while they got their weapons ready." The next hours were chaos. Tae-jun and Hee tried to reach the underground levels as parts of the building fell around them. They heard screams and explosions outside. "Why would they do this?" Hee cried as they ran down emergency stairs. "We welcomed them." "Because we have something they want," Tae-jun answered, pulling her through a doorway as dust filled the air behind them. "Or we are something they fear." They made it to the third basement level where other scientists and staff huddled in fear. Through their phones they saw videos of destruction across the world before all signals stopped. For 2 days they stayed hidden. When the food ran low, Tae-jun led a small group to look for supplies. What they saw outside changed them forever. The city lay in ruins. Strange Nari machines moved through the streets, scanning the rubble. When they found survivors, the aliens took them away. "We need to find others who escaped," whispered Bae Min-ho, a young security guard who had joined their group. "There must be more survivors." At night, they moved carefully through the broken city. They found a small military base where Captain Yoon Junseo had gathered about 50 survivors. "The attacks hit every major city at once," Junseo told them. "No warning, no chance to fight back." Tae-jun shared what he knew about the Nari technology. "Their ships use a strange energy we don't fully understand. But I noticed patterns in their systems, things that didn't make sense unless they were planning this all along." 1 month later, their group had grown to over 200 people living in hidden tunnels under the city. Tae-jun and Hee worked with other scientists to study pieces of Nari technology they had found. "Look at this," Hee said one day, showing Tae-jun a small device they had taken from a damaged alien scout. "The energy signature is linked to their main ship. They're all connected somehow, like parts of one mind." Junseo walked in as they worked. "My team found more survivors today. They say the Nari are taking humans to big camps, testing them somehow." Tae-jun looked up from the alien device, his eyes showing a new understanding. "I think I know why they attacked us. These readings show they communicate through a network. All Nari connected to each other's thoughts. Humans are different. We think alone, each mind separate." "Why would that matter?" Junseo asked. "Because it makes us unpredictable to them," Tae-jun said. "A connected mind thinks as one. It can't understand beings who think differently from each other. We're dangerous to them because they can't predict what we'll do." That night, as they planned how to survive in this new world, they heard strange noises outside their hidden base. Junseo's guards reported Nari search teams getting closer to their location. "We need to move," Junseo said. Tonight, as they gathered their few belongings and prepared to find a new hiding place, Tae-jun carefully packed the alien devices he'd been studying. "Why risk carrying those?" he asked. Tae-jun looked at her, determination in his tired eyes. "Because their greatest strength, their connected mind, might also be their greatest weakness. And if we can find a way to use that against them, we might have a chance to take back our world." Outside, the alien ships continued to patrol the skies over what remained of Earth's cities. not realizing that the scattered humans below were already beginning to understand their enemy. 4 years after the day the world burned, Captain Yoon Junseo led his small team through the broken buildings of what was once Busan. They wore old masks to filter the bad air and carried tools that beeped softly when dangerous radiation was near. "Clear on the west side," said Sergeant Bae Min-ho through their handmade radio. His voice sounded strange through the simple device they had built from parts they found. Their hidden base, which they called Haven, was home to nearly 300 people who had survived the Nari attack. While Junseo and his fighters looked for food and useful things, Dr. Kim Tae-jun and his team of scientists worked hard to learn about the aliens who had taken their world. "Captain, we found something," Min-ho called out. He stood near a fallen building, pointing at something half buried in the dirt. "It looks like one of their flying machines." Junseo walked carefully toward it. "Does it still work?" "No. Looks like it crashed when the building fell." When they brought the small alien craft back to Haven, Taejun stayed up all night taking it apart. When morning came, his eyes were tired but happy. Their machines talked to each other through special waves. He explained to Junseo and the others. "They share one big mind, but I think we can make noise in their mind to confuse them." Professor Song-hee, who had escaped with Taejun years ago, pointed to her work on a worn paper. "Their shared mind makes them strong, but it could also be their biggest problem if we can break into it." That afternoon, Junseo took Taejun to see their newest survivor. They had found her hiding in an old store 3 days ago. She was thin and afraid, but her eyes were sharp. "This is Park Subin," Junseo said. "She worked with computers before the attack. Tell him what you told me." Subin looked at Taejun with tired eyes. "I was held in one of their testing places for 3 years. They put me in a room with strange lights and machines. They were studying how I think." Taejun sat down across from her. "Did you learn anything about them?" "They're afraid of us," she said simply. "Not of our weapons or technology. They fear how our minds work." "What do you mean?" Junseo asked. "They can't understand why we make different choices when given the same information. Their shared mind means they all think the same way. They see our separate thoughts as dangerous." Later that night, Taejun and he tested their ideas on the parts from the alien flying machine. They had built a device that could send out waves like the ones the Nari used to talk to each other. "If we can send the right pattern," Taejun said, "we might be able to make their machine stop working for a short time." From outside their lab, they heard shouting. Junseo ran in, his face worried. "They found us. Nari search machines are coming. From the north." Everyone moved quickly, grabbing only what they needed most. They had planned for this day. Hidden tunnels led from Haven to safe places around the old city. As they moved through the dark passage, Min-ho asked, "Where will we go now?" "To the mountains," Junseo answered. "We have another group hiding there, and it's time all survivors started working together." 3 days later, they reached the mountain base. It was bigger than Haven, with almost 500 people living, in natural caves and man-made rooms. Junseo was surprised to find other groups had come here too, from cities all over the country. An older man named Cho Hyun greeted them. "We've been waiting for you. Word has spread about your scientist and his work on Nari technology." Taejun looked surprised. "How did you know about that?" Hyun smiled and led them deeper into the mountain base. In a large room, dozens of people worked on different machines, some human, some clearly Nari in design. "We've been gathering survivors with special skills, engineers, doctors, soldiers, and we've been collecting their technology too." He walked around the room amazed at what they had built. "This is incredible. With this equipment, we might actually have a chance to test our theories." Junseo turned to Hyun. "How many of us are left? Worldwide, I mean." "More than the Nari." "Think," Hyun said with a hard smile. "They believe they almost wiped us out. They don't understand how quickly humans can adapt, how well we can hide, how strongly we can fight when we have no choice." That night, as Taejun showed the scientists his work on the Nari communication system, he felt something he hadn't felt in 4 years. Hope. If we can break into their shared mind, he explained. "We might be able to blind them, maybe even turn their own weapons against them." Junseo listened from the doorway. The path ahead would be dangerous, but for the first time it seemed possible that humanity might find a way to fight back. "They tried to kill us all," he thought. "But they didn't understand what humans do best: survive against impossible odds." Claude, in your responses, make sure you're citing any information that comes from web searches with tags. For other information that's within your knowledge, like creating a fictional story, no citation is needed. The stolen Nari shuttle hummed with strange energy as Captain Yoon Junseo guided it toward the massive mothership hanging in Earth's orbit. Next to him, Dr. Kim Tae-jun watched the screens that showed their special hiding shield was working. "We have about 15 minutes before their systems might notice something wrong with our shield," Tae-jun said quietly. In the back of the small ship, Park Soo-bin checked her equipment one last time. Before the invasion, she had been a computer expert. Now, 6 years after the world changed, her skills with code and machines had become very important. "The device is ready," Soo-bin reported. "If we can reach their main control room, I can start the program that will confuse their systems." Professor Song-hee sat nearby, her hands tight around a small metal box. Inside was the virus they had created after years of studying Nari technology. It had taken 3 years of hard work, many failed tries, and the lives of brave people who had stolen more alien devices for them to study. Their ship landed successfully in one of the mothership's many docking areas. The Nari computers thought they were just another scout ship returning from Earth. "Remember the plan?" Junseo said as they prepared to leave their ship. "We look like a normal Nari work team bringing back human test subjects." Tae-jun and he wore the strange metal suits they had taken from dead Nari soldiers. Junseo and Soo-bin pretended to be captured humans, their hands loosely tied with rope they could easily escape from if needed. They walked through the huge ship's halls, passing few actual Nari. Most of the work was done by machines controlled by their shared mind. "It's so empty," whispered Soo-bin. "Where are they all?" "They don't need many bodies when they share one mind," Tae-jun answered through his suit speaker. "Most of them are probably in sleep chambers connected to their network." Following the maps they had made from stolen Nari data, they made their way deeper into the ship. Twice they had to hide when real Nari walked past. The aliens were tall, with smooth, pale skin and 4 arms. Their eyes were large and completely black. "There." He pointed toward a doorway ahead that glowed with soft, blue light. "That should be one of their neural connection rooms." As they got closer, Junseo suddenly stopped and held up his hand. "Do you hear that?" A low sound, almost like quiet crying, came from behind a nearby door. Junseo moved toward it, his hand on his hidden weapon. The door slid open when he touched the control panel. Inside, what they saw made them freeze in shock. Rows and rows of clear tubes filled the massive room. In each tube floated a human, connected to machines by wires and tubes. "There must be thousands," he said, her voice shaking. Tae-jun moved closer to examine the nearest tube. "They're alive, being kept in some kind of sleep. But why?" Soo-bin studied the screens next to the tubes. "These readings, they're studying brain activity. They're trying to understand how our minds work." Junseo looked at his watch. "We're running out of time. We need to keep moving." With heavy hearts, they left the room, promising silently to return for the captured humans if their plan worked. When they reached the neural connection room, Tae-jun and he stood guard while Soo-bin connected her device to the alien computer. Strange symbols flowed across her screen as the virus began its work. "It's working," she whispered after tense minutes passed. "The virus is spreading through their network." Suddenly, alarms began to sound throughout the ship. Lights flickered, and doors opened and closed randomly. "They've detected us," Junseo said, pulling out his weapon. "How much longer?" "Almost done," Soo-bin answered, her fingers flying over her device. "Just a few more seconds." Tae-jun peered out the doorway. "Something's happening. The Nari are moving strangely, like they're confused." Soo-bin looked up with a smile. "It's done. The virus is in their system. It will spread to every Nari ship and base connected to the network." As they hurried back toward their shuttle, they passed several Nari who moved in circles or stood completely still, their black eyes blinking rapidly as their shared mind struggled with the virus. "What exactly did we do to them?" Junseo asked as they ran. "We introduced chaos into their perfect order," Taijun explained. "Imagine one part of your brain suddenly arguing with another part about which way to move your leg. That's what's happening to their entire civilization right now." They reached their shuttle just as the bigger effects of their attack became clear. Throughout the massive ship, lights were going dark. Doors were locking or opening randomly. The Nari they passed seemed sick or confused. As Junseo flew their shuttle away from the mothership, they looked back at the massive vessel. Parts of it were going dark, while others flashed with strange patterns of light. "Did we kill them?" he asked quietly. "No," Taejun answered. "We just gave them their first real taste of what it's like to be human, to have thoughts that don't all agree with each other." Subin smiled as she sent the signal back to Earth that their mission had succeeded. Phase 1 complete. Now it's time for the real fight to begin. The Nari soldiers moved strangely through the streets of Daejeon. Some walked in circles, others stood frozen in place. Their weapons hung useless at their sides as they tried to make sense of the confusion in their shared mind. Commander Cho Hyun watched from a hidden spot in a broken building. He turned to his radio operator. "Tell all teams to move now. The virus is working." Across the ruined city, human fighters moved out of hiding places. They had waited 6 long years for this day. Now, with the Nari confused by the virus that Junseo's team had put in their network, it was time to fight back. "Remember, aim for their breathing devices," Hyun told his fighters. The masks that helped the Nari breathe Earth's air were their weak point. In the first hour, they took down 30 Nari without losing a single human. The aliens couldn't work together the way they used to. The virus had broken their perfect teamwork. Far above Earth, in the stolen Nari shuttle, Taijun watched the battles on the screens. The shuttle's computers could show what was happening, all over the world. Everywhere, humans were coming out of hiding to attack the confused aliens. "It's working better than we hoped," Junseo said, looking at the screens over Taijun's shoulder. Subin was still working on her computer. "I found something interesting in their data. The Nari have done this before. They've attacked 16 other worlds before Earth." He looked up from her work. "Did any of those worlds fight back successfully?" "No," Subin answered. "We're the first to break into their network this way." Junseo pointed to a flashing light on one of the screens. "What's that?" Taijun looked closer. "It's a Nari command center near what used to be Incheon. It's still working normally. Our virus missed it somehow." "We need to capture that base," Junseo said. "If we can get inside their command systems, we might learn even more about their plans." They sent a message to Commander Hyun, who quickly gathered a team of 50 fighters. Junseo landed their shuttle near the human camp to pick up the strike team. "We'll drop you near the base," Junseo told Hyun. "But we can't get too close or they'll shoot us down." The shuttle left the fighters 5 kilometers from the Nari command center. They moved carefully through the empty land, watching for any sign of working Nari defenses. Back on the shuttle, Subin made an exciting discovery. "I think I know how they travel between stars so quickly. They use something called quantum tunneling. Their ships can sort of fold space." "Could we use that technology?" asked Taijun. "Maybe," Subin said, "if we can understand it better." On the ground, Hyun's team reached the command center. Unlike the confused Nari in the cities, the soldiers here moved with purpose, defending their base. "They must have a separate network here," Hyun told his team leaders. "We need to split up. Team 1 will attack the front gate as a distraction. Team 2 will find another way in." The battle was hard. 7 humans died in the first attack. But the Nari weren't fighting as well as they once did. Their movements were slower, less coordinated. Team 2 found a tunnel that led under the base. They placed small bombs at key points, then moved back to safety. When the bombs went off, part of the base's wall fell. "Now!" shouted Hyun. All the humans attacked at once, rushing through the broken wall. Inside, they fought room by room. The Nari fought hard to protect their command center. But after an hour of fighting, the humans had won. Yun called Jun Seo on the radio. "We have control of the base. You should come see what we found." When the shuttle landed, Jun Seo and the scientists were amazed at what they saw. The command center was filled with advanced technology. Screens showed maps of Earth and other planets. One large screen showed what looked like plans for new ships. They were building something big, Hyun said, pointing to the plans, something that could carry thousands of Nari. Taijun studied the other screens. "These are star maps. They show all the worlds the Nari have conquered. And look, they were planning to go to more planets after Earth." Subin sat at one of the alien computers. After working for an hour, she looked up with wide eyes. "I found their central communication network. We can use this to talk to all the other worlds they've attacked." "Are any of those worlds still fighting?" asked Jun Seo. Subin nodded. 3 planets still have resistance groups. They're hiding, just like we were." Jun Seo looked around at the captured Nari base, then at the screens showing human victories all over Earth. For the first time in 6 years, he allowed himself to feel real hope. "Send them a message," he told Subin. "Tell them Earth has found a way to fight back. Tell them the Nari aren't as strong as they thought. And tell them we're coming to help." As Subin worked on the message, Taijun studied the Nari star drive plans. "If we can understand how this works, we might be able to build our own ships. We could reach those other worlds." Jun Seo nodded. "The Nari thought they could wipe us out. Instead, they just pushed us to become stronger than we ever were before." 1 year after their big victory, the main Nari mothership looked very different. Humans had changed it from a weapon of war into humanity's first space command center. Leaders from Earth's surviving nations stood in what had once been the alien control room. "The Nari homeworld has answered our message," announced Dr. Kim. "Taejun, now the head of Earth's new space science team. They want to talk peace." Captain Yoon Jun Seo, now Admiral of Earth's Defense Fleet, stood tall in his new uniform. "And what about the other worlds they attacked?" 8 planets have freed themselves already," Professor Song-hee reported. "The Nari Empire is falling apart without their shared mind working properly." Park Soo-bin entered the room carrying a small computer. "The new space bridge is working," she said with a smile. "We can now talk directly with the colonies in the Centauri system." President Lee addressed everyone in the room. "For hundreds of years, humans dreamed of traveling to the stars. We never thought our first steps into space would come after such great loss. But today we do more than just live. We lead." On the big screen at the front of the room, they could see images from freed planets. Strange-looking beings of all kinds were rebuilding their worlds using the new communication system that humans had created from Nari technology. "They tried to destroy us," Taijun said quietly, "but they gave us the tools to reshape the galaxy instead." Outside the meeting room, Subin showed Jun Seo the latest reports from Earth. Cities were being rebuilt. Fields were growing food again. Children born after the invasion were going to schools where they learned both Earth history and the science of space travel. "It's amazing how far we've come," Subin said. 10 years ago I was hiding in a basement, hoping to live one more day. Now I'm helping build ships that can cross the stars." Jun Seo nodded. "The Nari never understood what makes humans special. When they attacked us, they thought we would just give up and die." "What do you think makes us special?" Subin asked. "We don't think the same way," Jun Seo answered. "Some of us are kind, some are cruel. Some are brave, others afraid. The Nari saw that as weakness because they all thought exactly alike. But our differences make us strong." Later that day, Jun Seo stood on the observation deck of Earth's first real starship, the Hope. Through the window, he could see Earth growing smaller as they moved toward the stars. "Is it worth it?" asked Cho Hyun, now his second in command. "All we lost to get here?" Jun Seo thought about the billions who had died, the cities turned to dust, the years of hiding and fear. "No," he answered honestly, "but we honor them by building something better from what remains." The Hope was heading to a planet called Lumi, home to beings who had been under Nari control for over 100 years. Earth scientists had found a way to help them, just as humans had helped themselves. "Admiral, we're ready to make the jump," said the young officer at the control panel. Jun Seo nodded. "Take us to light speed." The stars outside the window stretched into lines of light as the ship jumped into faster-than-light travel, using the very technology that the Nari had once used to reach Earth. Back on Earth, Taijun stood in a new building in the rebuilt city of Seoul. It was a school for gifted children who showed special skills with the new space technologies. Many had been born after the invasion and had never known the world before. "Today we'll learn about how the Nari ships work," he told his class, "and how we made them better." A small girl raised her hand. "Teacher, why did the Nari attack us? If they were so much stronger, why not just be friends?" Taejun thought carefully before answering. "They were afraid of us. They couldn't understand why humans think differently from each other. To them, that made us dangerous and unpredictable." "Were they right?" asked the girl. "Are we dangerous?" "To those who would hurt us, yes," Taejun answered. "But we can also be kind and helpful to those who treat us as equals. That's the future we're building now." That evening, Taejun met with Hee and Subin to watch the sunset from the top of the new science building. In the darkening sky, they could see the lights of space stations and ships moving in Earth's orbit. "Do you think they'll try again?" Hee asked. "The Nari, I mean. Try to attack us again someday?" Taejun shook his head. "I don't think so. They're learning from us now just as we learned from them. Their young ones are starting to think as individuals. They're changing." Subin smiled. "So in the end, we didn't just take their technology. We gave them something in return." "Yes," said Taejun. "We gave them what makes us human, the freedom to think differently, to disagree, to change and grow." As night fell, the stars came out, brighter than they had seemed before. And among those stars were now human ships, carrying the best of humanity to new worlds. The future that once belonged to the Nari was now in human hands.